Okay, so I specialize in helping people recover from all kinds of abuse, and they all have one thing in common. If you want to recover, you gotta get good at boundaries. So here are 4 of my favorite boundary setting techniques. These are very mix and match, so you can combine this first one with any of the other 3. I like to call it the vibe force field. So typically we're setting a boundary, we're telling the other person that we're not gonna do whatever they're asking us to do, and they probably are not too psyched about that, so their voice is going to start to get louder and they're going to start to talk faster and try to kind of come over the top of you. So the vibe force field is when you let them do that, and then when they're ready to let you talk, you deliver the same information in a low register at a low pace of speech, just like that, deadpan. And they come back and they come over the top of you and they're talking really loud and they're really pissed off and they're, talking fast, yada yada. And you do the same thing in the low register, calmly, every single time. Second one is something I like to call red shoes, green shoes. So those of you who have kids, you will recognize this one. Kid doesn't want to put their shoes on and you tell them, listen, you can wear your red shoes or you can wear your green shoes, right? The subtext being, you gotta wear your shoes. So the option that's not on the table, we're taking it off completely. You can either wear your red shoes or you can wear your green shoes. So with your boss, this might look like, your boss is kind of asking you to do too many things at once, right? So you go to your boss and you say, okay, so I can prioritize X project or I can prioritize Y project. Which is more important to us? So you're not giving the option of, I'm just going to run myself ragged and work like 50 hours this week. I can prioritize X or I can prioritize Y. Obviously, if you have a really abusive boss, this may not work, but it's worth a try. I like to call the next one the Pavlov, because you are conditioning the person to know that every time they bring up this subject with you, they're not going to get what they want. So let's say it's a family member, you've already told them you don't want to talk about X thing, and they keep bringing it up. Every time they bring it up, you change the subject, or you excuse yourself and leave the room. And you don't call it out, you just do it the same way every time so that eventually they learn, you've conditioned them to know they can keep bringing this up, but they're not going to get what they want out of you. The last one is called the 3 times technique, and it is exactly what it sounds like. So somebody asks you to do something, you explain that you cannot do it, and then they ask you to do it again. You explain it exactly the same way with the same verbiage a second time. They again keep pushing the boundary, you do the same thing a third time. Works every time.